As most Michigan children get ready for the first day of class Tuesday, the question being asked right now, does the school day begin too early in the morning? We welcome you back to Let It Rip. Are we forcing kids to get up too early for school? Doctors say they'd be healthier if we let them sleep a bit more. Randy Speck is the superintendent of Madison Heights Schools, here to explain why his high school has decided to change the starting time. Dr. Nakia Williams, pediatrician at Henry Ford Hospital, knows what makes kids happy, healthy, and best able to learn. And Sabrina Jackson back with us on our parenting expert and author and legal analyst, Charlie Langton, who knows what it's like to get up early, up every morning for WWJ duty. What, about 3:30 in the morning?
About that, yes.
You never called them and said, it's too early, I can't think, did you?
No, never. I never did. Never
Not
did.
yet. WWJ, hang on, the call is coming. Why is your school changing the hours?
Yeah, when we want to look at best practices, we want to look at research, and we want to look at our own data. And one of the things we found over the last several years is during the first hour of the day, and our high school started at 7:30, we're having more and more kids become absent and tardy. So we wanted to really look at our population and decide, you know what, research and best practices are starting to say, if you flip starting times within a school district, have your elementary school start earlier, have them at 8, your middle school around 8:10, 8:15, and then your high school is at 8:30, attendance rate improves. And the other part of that is, it's better health practice for a teenager.
Dr. Williams, is it?
Absolutely. Studies show that right around the age of puberty, you start to have different chemical shifts in your body. So teenagers would be very hard pressed to go to sleep before 11 in some cases, or early in general. So just from the chemical makeup of the teenagers, we really do need to ensure that they still have the 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep that we do recommend, and a later start time would actually help that.
Sabrina, does parenting come in here at all? Are we saying to the kids, hey, if it doesn't work out for you in life, we're going to change the hours on the clock?
Well, I think that is an unrealistic expectation for our children, because I believe that high school is preparing you for real life, preparing you for the world of work. I have never been able to call my boss and say, just because of a chemical change in my body, I can't show up to work on time, nor be focused when I get there. So even at 18, when I had a job, I had to show up, I had to be ready, and I had to be responsible and focused.
That's true, but at the other part of it is, if I've got 10 to 15% of my high school students who are late every day, and I have a way to change that, maybe I ought to look into that. If I have a way to evolve our system to meet the needs of our students, that might work okay.
Well, start class at noon then. I mean, and then you get everybody there, I guess.
Well, there's a larger reality here, and it's not just we're going to meet the needs of the kids, or we're going to pacify the kids and all that kind of stuff. The reality is, if they're coming in late, and some of it we have students coming from Wayne County, Detroit, and some of our parents will say, you know what, we don't have cars. I'm not going to put my kids on public transportation at 6 o'clock in the morning in January to get them out here. That may have worked 20 years ago, 50 years ago. It's not what's happening in 2014, and I'm not sure I'm a smart school administrator if I'm just going to go, well, you know what, kids, you just come when we tell you to come, rather than look at some research, listen to some of the doctors, listen to some best practices, and try to make some changes.
A half hour one way or another may not make a difference, but for parents, many parents start work at 9 o'clock,
yes.
And then what are they going to do with the kids? The kids got to be at 9, they go there early, kids got to be there. It's a disaster for parents getting the kids to school. A lot of the kids will say, I'm not going to go.
I'm not sure school schedules and work alignments have ever been completely aligned. So when you make that argument, I'm not sure it's completely true, and maybe you need some more sleep.
I do.
to do that. But I think what we have to do is look at it, and what may work in our school population may not work in other populations. But I think we're going to give this a try and see what happens.
And in your practice, yes. Go ahead.
We actually have to look at the health risks that are really involved here. If you're sleep deprived, study shows you're not going to do well academically. And that includes standardized test scores. To get some of those jobs, those high functioning jobs that we're trying to get to early in the morning, you can have a risk of caffeine intake increasing, which is sugary drinks. So there's a related risk to obesity, depression, suicidal thoughts, and we don't want our youngest drivers to drive sleepy as well. I mean, that is just asking for accidents to happen.
For parents out there, how much sleep is too much? How much is too little? What do you recommend?
The guidelines say 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep at night is what is really the recommendation for our children.
Or children?
Well, for our children, definitely, but we definitely need 8.
Parenting expert.
Not 5.
Is that real? Can that happen?
Well, I believe that one, we have different temperament type, and so you have different temperament of individuals. So you have some individuals that absolutely cannot function without 8 hours of sleep. I don't care how old they are. But then you have other people who, because of their temperament style and their temperament type, they move quicker, they move faster, and they don't require the recommended 8. They can really function well on 6 or maybe 5.
Let's change the discussion from the clock to the calendar. What about a balanced school year? You're heading for that, aren't you, in Madison Heights?
We are. We're having the discussion with our families this year about what that looks like, especially at the elementary level, because again, research and some best practices show that summer vacation is becoming too long when it comes to retaining the information from May and June back into August. And schools are under a lot of pressure when it comes to the standardized test scores that we're all being measured by that take place in the spring. We want to do the best we can to lower the achievement gap, make sure our kids are having great teaching and learning environments, and we think by taking the 180 days and spreading that out throughout the calendar in a balanced year approach may give our kids some really great teaching and learning opportunities.
What does it do for the family unit?
I think it would be absolutely wonderful. One, because I say all the time, our children now are competing on a global scale, and there are other cultures that are doing all year round preparation for their children. We need to be kicking our game up to that level as well.
And I've talked to some teachers that actually say that in the first part of the school, they're reteaching what they taught the year before just to make up.
I have heard that.
So I love this all year round school. That's a great thing. It's great. The kids may not like it, but I think it's good.
And what about the health aspect when we talk about this?
They're
not doing things in the summertime. They're not with family on family vacations as much as before.
Absolutely. These are all public health issues, and we really need to address what's good for the community as a whole. So by stimulating children all year round, giving them a book to read as often as possible so that they don't go 3 months without reading a book or writing a book report or things like that. Those things cannot happen if you expect to be successful in school.
One of the things that's so important is that schools are always talking about how to improve and increase parent involvement. And so there are about 6 strategies that schools can use, and one of them is helping with the decision making. So having parents sit at the table when you're making the decision, I'm sure will help them to embrace the decision.
Well, that's what they're going to do in Madison Heights.
Yeah.
Very briefly here as we wrap this up, where are you on this? Is it going to happen next school year? It's not going to happen this
So
school
we were fortunate to receive a grant through the Michigan Economic Development Council to help us transition our schools over the next 3 years into a balanced calendar. And we're going to be working with our families to see how that impacts them and how they can help us implement it really successfully, because across the board, when school districts have gotten families involved and parents involved, it's worked.
And it may be more attractive for other students to come into your district.
I think so.
we're going to follow that on Fox 2 News. So we thank you in advance for welcoming us into your district so that we can do this
right
on our
here.
research project. I thank you all for being here.
Thank
As you said on Twitter tonight, great spirited discussion. Thank you. But wait, there's more. More to this discussion when Let It Rip continues. We're going on the road, and we'll be right back.